Hey guys, this past Friday I went and saw the movie Oculus. I know I'm posting this on a Monday, and I know this is, like I said, a few days late. It was mainly because um, the room that I usually do my reviews in was taken over by my baby niece and my sister, and I wasn't able to do a review. And usually I've tried to do like reviews like on my phone and stuff like that, and it usually never works out. So I figured I'd wait until a few days until I can use my camera to post a review for this movie. This movie going in was a movie that I had uh, zero expectations going in. I didn't know much about it other than that it was about supposedly a killer mirror, um, and that was about it. I kept getting the commercials for this movie constantly, and they would drive me up the fucking wall because they're like, Oculus, Oculus. I'm like, what the fuck is this movie? And I never got a preview for this movie in front of anything over the last few months, but I got a lot of commercials for it, and from the trailers, it just looked like another horror movie. Honestly, I'm sure I'm not the only one. It was reminding me a lot of that stupid movie that came out a few years ago called Mirrors. It had the kind of same concept. It looked like where it was just about a killer mirror, or a ghost in a mirror that was killing people or something like that. And that movie was really fucking stupid. The only thing that movie was memorable for was the jaw ripping scene, which is a really great scene. But other than that, the movie's shit. So yeah, going into it, I didn't have very high expectations, and the reviews have been pretty damn decent for this film. That's what kind of caught my interest. That the reviews were pretty good, and it's also I was a little worried going in also that this was being produced by WWE Studios, and let's face it, WWE Studios has been a failure from up to this point, and they haven't made really one good movie. I mean, I think the worst like venture Vince McMahon has done since probably the XFL, in my opinion. But like I said, going in, I was kind of worried with that fact too, that WWE Studios was producing it. I wonder which wrestler would make an appearance in this movie, and also when I going into this review or going into this movie, I was kind of worried that I wouldn't remember it or when I did my review, because I knew going in I wouldn't be doing my review for a few days, but you know what? I still remember this movie vividly, and it's still fresh in my fucking mind. This movie was pretty interesting. This movie was definitely interesting and unique. I really dug the shit out of this movie. I did. I really did. It's one of the more kind of original horror films I've seen in a while. I really highly recommend it. The trailers do not do this movie justice. If you've seen trailers for this movie and you go, that looks stupid or whatever, no, that's not this movie isn't just about like a killer mirror and that's it. This movie is more a great psychological thriller where you don't know what reality is and you don't know what the fuck is going on. And really, the movie doesn't tell you what's going on. It's left open for your own interpretation. I like that. Hey, some movies can do that very badly. This movie does it very good. Really dug the shit out of this movie. The acting in this movie is pretty good in this. I thought the standout performance, in my opinion, was Katie Sackhoff she plays the mom. This movie goes back and forth between flashbacks to these kids' past and the present, and it works. It works fine. Usually, sometimes when you have that kind of stuff in a movie, sometimes it doesn't work. In this movie, it does because there's a point to it, and I kind of got the like caught on pretty early on why they kept doing that. But I thought the mom, Kay Sackhoff, was pretty fun in this movie, playing, like, showing her slow descent into madness. Also, the dad was really good and pretty chilling in parts of this movie. The two lead actors, I thought they were fine. I did have a problem with particularly one character, the sister, and the fact that I'll get into that in a little bit, but I thought they were fine. Am I the only one who, when I first saw these two, I went, they look like a younger version of James Vanderbeek. The brother looks like a younger version of James Vanderbeek, and the sister looks like a redhead version of Jennifer Lawrence. Am I the only one who got that? I thought that was pretty funny. I was like, hey, they just look exactly like those two actors. It was kind of funny. Like I said, this movie is really fucking crazy. The last half of this movie is insane. Like, the last 30 minutes, I'll be honest, there's parts of the last 30 minutes of this movie I was sitting there going, I have no idea what the fuck is going on, but by God, this movie is awesome. And it also helped that I saw this with a crowded theater. Actually, it wasn't very crowded. They put the movie in one of the smaller theaters towards the back, and what would normally be a kind of small crowd in a normal theater was a pretty crowded theater. It made this a pretty crowded theater, and everybody was having a blast watching this movie. It was a lot of fun. I had like a bunch of douchebag teenagers sitting behind me that were talking like for the majority of the beginning of the movie, and I thought they were going to be a problem, but by the end of it, I was kind of joining them. I was kind of having a blast with this, and it's not. We were kind of laughing at stuff, and it wasn't because it was bad. It was just I was entertained. I was thoroughly entertained by this fucking movie. Also, this is a movie that doesn't rely too much on like gore effects, which was kind of nice because this kind of movie you don't need to, and it doesn't. And when it does, though, there's some really nasty effects here and there, and they're really well done. Like, I will never be able to chew my fucking fingernails ever again. I mean, the bloody fingernails, the fingernails breaking off, and oh god, that was terrible. But the most memorable one, I think, this was one I was told about before I saw the movie, was the light bulb scene. Well, it's basically the girl, she goes to bite into an apple, and the apple's next to the light bulb, and she bites into the light bulb instead. And oh god, that scene was horrible. And she's pulling out shards of glass, and they're just bleeding from her mouth. That was a great effect. A well done movie. That was pretty well done. But like I said, I liked that this movie was more about, it used more dread and like psychological terror than anything. Because this movie is the best way I can describe it is it's an hour and 45-minute mind fuck, because it messes with you. It does. This movie does mess with you like while you're watching it. Like, you start questioning reality. Like, what the fuck is really going on? I give points also for the ending. A lot of people, I've heard a lot of praise good towards the ending. I can see, I kept hearing people say that like it could lead to more sequels and stuff like that. You know what? It could, but also at the same time, I also felt that I think it would be fine if they just ended it right there. I think if he did the sequels, I worry if they do a sequel to this movie, they'll try to explain everything that wasn't explained in this one, because that's usually what sequels fucking do. And that they kind of ruined the previous movies. If I did have a problem with this movie, it is kind of the plot for this movie is where I kind of have a problem with. And some of the character choices in this movie I have a problem with too, particularly the sister. Let's go to the plot for a second, for anybody who hasn't read or haven't seen the movie. The plot is it starts out where this 21-year-old boy comes out of a mental institution, is getting out of a mental institution after being locked up, after shooting his dad, after his dad shot his mother, shot and tortured his mother. And the sister comes to pick him up, who has been through the same traumatic experience as he has, but didn't, obviously didn't kill anybody. She comes to pick him up, and she, instead of this guy, basically, I kind of felt for the guy. I felt for the brother, honestly, because he was the most relatable character, because he just wants to go back to living a normal life. He wants to get back on with his life after all this. But the sister is crazy, literally fucking crazy, because her decision is, once she gets the brother the brother gets out of the mental institution, she's under the assumption that this mirror that her dad bought when they were little was the reason that all these murders happened, because she finds out for research that all the previous owners of this mirror all died mysterious and really weird deaths. And so she's under the assumption that this mirror killed her parents. And what does she do? She buys this fucking mirror and puts it in their old house and sticks her and her brother in the same room as this mirror with video cameras so that she can document what this mirror does, and so that she can prove that her family's not crazy, and that all the people wants to prove all the people wrong that have made fun of her throughout the years. I can understand her motivation, and I can, but there is a certain point where you go, dude, there's a certain point where I have to suspend disbelief that anybody would want to be in the same fucking room with a mirror that supposedly is killing people. I would not want to, even though if it might clear up my family's past. I still don't care. I wouldn't want to fucking be 10 feet in front of that fucking thing. It kind of is hard to suspend disbelief on that fact. And the sister is kind of a fucking bitch. I mean, the brother really just wants to live a normal life, and she's like persistent on pretty much fucking hell-bent on proving this, even if it's sacrificing her brother's freedom, for fuck's sake. And of course, I'm not spoiling it, but it doesn't end very well for both of them. That's all I'll say about that. And what the fuck did you expect when every one of the past owners of this mirror have died? What do you expect? I mean, it's kind of hard to suspend disbelief on that stuff. And it's not a nitpick either. That's something. It didn't bother me as I was watching the movie. And also, really, the brother could have left at any point in this fucking movie. Yeah, he could have. There's points where he actually gets out of the house, and you know what? He could have just ran the fuck off. If I were him, I would have. That's more kind of my support of the guy. Kind of, much as I thought he was the most relatable character, towards the end, I'm like, dude, just leave the fucking house. You can leave. I thought at one point when they do leave the house that the mirror was going to start playing tricks on him, because the mirror does play tricks on him throughout the whole movie. But I figured that once they got out of the house, that no matter how far they run, they would just end up at the same place. Like a lot of movies like that, and horror movies do that effect. And no, it doesn't. They just don't wander off. They don't ever try to run off, even though they have the chance numerous times. I mean, yeah, I mean, some people might see that as minor, but I don't. Minor nitpicks, but I don't, honestly. Although, even despite that fact, I still really fucking enjoyed this movie, because it was one fucking twisty movie, and one really out there, unique, one of the most unique horror films I've seen in a while. Definitely. And it's definitely a lot of fun to sit through, especially if you get a chance to see it with a crowd. Because this is a movie. It was kind of funny the people's reactions coming out of this movie. I can see why some people might not like this movie. I can, because it's not exactly what you expect it to be. But honestly, it's I really fucking enjoyed this movie. I really did, and yeah, I recommend it. I'm trying to think. I can't remember the trailers because it's been a couple days. You gotta give me a break. I'm trying. I got that. I did get that full trailer for that movie that looks like it's straight to DVD, but it's only being released because Paul Walker died at Brick Mansions. That should have been released straight to DVD, but the only reason they did it was because he died. That's the only reason why. I had some fucking friend who, oh my god, I gotta share this story, but my friend on Facebook made me like want to unfriend him when they wrote on status one day. They said, "How can Paul Walker be dead if he?" There's a movie of his being released called Brick Mansions at the end of this month. Really? Are you fucking that stupid? They were serious too, and I'm like, I want this right. Are you fucking that stupid? Like, if you really think, if you have to really question that, I don't want to talk to you. I think you're an idiot. That was so stupid. I still can't believe somebody wrote that without even fucking thinking. But yeah, yeah. Like I said, I recommend this movie. And I'll be back. I don't know, probably this weekend sometime. With I have no fucking clue what I'll be back with actually. Maybe Bears Draft Day. Or, what's the other one? Fuck. Let me look here. Bears Draft Day, or something like that. I don't know. Well, I'll be back with something, alright? Until then, I'll talk to you guys later.